What do you need to know about fasting? What are the benefits of fasting? How does fasting work? How do I prepare for fasting? How do I successfully get through a fast? And then how do I get to the end of the fast and not reverse the things that I did to get the benefit in the fast? That's what we're talking about. We are doing all you need to know about fasting here on the show. Hey, if you're new to me, I'm Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. And in this year, new year, new you. I'm talking to adults with type 2 diabetes who want to put their diabetes in remission, who want to reverse their diabetes and improve their metabolic health. If you're new, go ahead and put a new in the comments because I'd love to welcome you with a hand clap and some music and let you know that we are happy that you are here. If you do have questions as we go throughout the show, make sure you put those in the comments as well and put a Q in front of them because I want to make sure that I get to that question for you. Welcome, whatever platform you're joining us from. If you're on Instagram, if you are on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever you find yourself, Twitch even. We are glad that you're here in the space. Thank you for joining us as we walk through this amazing path of reversing diabetes. If you have been with us, or even if you haven't, you know, the way we do it right here, I've got some monitors, I've got some things we're going to look at. Here are my glucose monitors, my Keto Mojo, and my Conto. We'll take a look at that in a minute. I've got my Dexcom Clarity Report that's right below me there that we'll go through and look to see what's been going on. And then, of course, I've got my continuous monitors that we will put up here in just a little while to let you know what has been going on. If you have not done so, make sure you get over and you see our show from this past week. We are walking through our COPE model, COPE. That is clarify, observe, pause, process and pick, and then execute. That's the model that we are using to be able to combat the things that will drive us off of our eating plan, those things that will push us in a direction that we don't want to go, that will derail us. Right? Remember, right here, the HEAT model, these are the things, these are the triggers that push us to eat, and the COPE model helps us overcome those. So we've been walking through that process. Make sure you get to the channel and you watch those. We are doing the fourth component here coming up on the show on Monday at 7 p.m. Central. So go back and make sure that you catch up on those. Just a shout out again to anyone who's out there, wherever you're joining us from. I see some folks that are out there on Instagram, and if you're here on YouTube or Facebook or whatever platform, thank you for joining us tonight. As I do, and let's kind of put some backdrop, let's talk about what's going on. So in the metabolic space, one of the most devastating diseases that we have is diabetes. Diabetes encompasses so much. We used to say way back in the day, right, when other people were training, they say if you could take care of one disease that encompasses so much of the metabolism of the body, then you can actually take care of the entire body. And if you can take care of someone who has diabetes, then you have mastered a lot of things because diabetes touches so much as it moves through the body. I was talking to a patient just yesterday, and she was talking about some of the complications that she's seeing, and it was amazing to see all of the places that diabetes was touching. There are over 1 billion people on the planet right now who have diabetes or pre-diabetes. About 560 million are diabetic. Yeah, that's a huge number. And so diabetes is the prototypic metabolic disease. So if we could find a way to manage a lot of the things that come from diabetes, then we can also manage a lot of the other things. Okay, if you've been following us on our New Year, New You process, go ahead and watch those videos because they basically walk you through the complications that come about with diabetes and how we can improve them. We've been learning a lot of tools for reversing diabetes. How do we go about do that as we walk through the process? And several of the tools that we've learned, and you've seen them if you've been with us. If not, You'll see some of those there on the screen. So how do we, what's our why? What's the thing that is driving us? What is the thing that gives us that push to overcome some of the challenges when we're moving through the reversing space, where we're trying to lose weight, when we're trying to improve our blood pressure and our cholesterol and all the metabolic things? What is the thing that's driving us? What is our why? How do we figure that out? How do we develop emotional intelligence and mindfulness? Because that's important as we're dealing with those triggers that will come up. Right? So how do we know where we are in relationship to other people, in relationship to food? That's an important conversation. How do we construct a meal that is healthy? All of those, there are tools that we are learning. And one tool that we've learned is the tool of fasting. Fasting is an amazing process where we are coming away from food. We're coming away from, we're giving our body a chance to rest. We are improving our insulin resistance. We're getting into fat burning and decreasing the chances of liver disease or fatty liver. Right? So fasting is that process. And fasting is important, and it's a powerful tool because it hits all three of the pillars that we know about when we talk about reversing diabetes. That is decreasing insulin, suppressing the appetite, and reducing sugar. So fasting alone hits all of those pillars. And so that's why it's a powerful tool to help us in our reversing process. And so on a weekly basis, I have recommended that everyone should work their way up to be able to fast for one 24-hour period. Okay, so one 24-hour period, once a week. And as we're moving through that space, the question is, how do we fast successfully? How do we fast safely? How do we fast so we get the maximum benefit from the things that we say fasting does? And so in this space, what we've been doing is walking through fasting, right? We've been using fasting as that tool. And now the question is, how do we do that successfully? And that's where you find us today as we are reviewing the process of fasting. What are how do we prepare for the fast? How do we get through the fast? And how do we break the fast? Right? Because if we can do that successfully, then we have harnessed one of the most important tools that we can have to reverse diabetes. The other thing is, as you saw there at the bottom, because diabetes is the prototypic metabolic disease, if we can treat that, we can also affect so many other diseases: high blood pressure, high cholesterol, coronary artery disease, polycystic ovarian syndrome, fatty liver, right? Metabolic syndrome, and on and on and on. And so that's why fasting is an amazing process, an amazing tool that we've been using. So when I do the fasting, right, we want to check in on how we're doing. Now, if you were with us last night, you know that last night at our show, I was at 96 hours. And so I actually broke my fast last night after the show at about 98, almost 99 hours of fasting. So we'll take a look at see what my blood sugars have done during the fast, and of course since I've broken the fast, and what's been happening. And you kind of heard that story yesterday. Go back and watch that. That was a fascinating one. If you were with us, you'll get a kick. You'll get a kick out of that. And we talked about the scarcity mindset that sometimes sets in and that pushes us to do things with food that we would not ordinarily do. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and we're going to hop over. We're going to talk about I'm going to do a check-in, both from the 99-hour period and how I'm doing now since we've broken the fast. And the three components that I always talk about is how we're doing physically, mentally, and emotionally. Anything that you're changed in terms of your personality, anything you change in terms of mindset and growth, and health, you want to check in with at least these three components. How are you doing physically, mentally, and emotionally? So yesterday when I was fasting, I was on the show 96 hours. Energy level was great because I had done a good job over the week of making sure that I was getting rest. I was going to bed at a reasonable time, getting good sleep. I actually wake up I was waking up before the alarm went off, right? And so a big component of fasting, and we'll talk about that as we get through the review, is the rest. And so since I did a good job of resting, my energy level was actually pretty good. I wasn't feeling lightheaded, dizzy, sweaty, any of those things that sometimes we associate with fasting or associate with people who are having low blood sugars, particularly those people who are on medication to lower their blood sugar. Okay. Today, I'm feeling energetic. I'm not fasting. I was eating today. As a matter of fact, I was having some cheese just before I came on here. I'm doing a good job of hydrating. I had my visit with my doctor this morning, and if you join us on the community meetup on the 31st, then you'll get to see some of those lab results. But did a good job of hydrating and getting rest. So physically feeling good. Mentally, and mentally goes along with physical, because if you're tired, sometimes you kind of get sluggish, you're slow, your mentation may not be as acute or as accurate, I guess let me say it that way. But during this fast, I was doing well because my mentation was good. I didn't feel foggy. I didn't feel dull. I didn't feel as though I was walking in a bubble. Sometimes people will say that they feel that way. None of that was going on in this case. And of course, today, none of that. I'm not feeling any of that. And then emotionally excited. Good report from my doctor this morning. As we spend time talking about fasting, believe it or not, because he wanted to know some of the things I was doing in my space, right, to get the results that I'm getting in terms of my health, right. So that was a fascinating conversation to have, and a lot of people will say to me, "Well, you're the endocrinologist, so you know, and you can do whatever you want." And I tell everybody that I don't do that, right. I am the patient at that point. And so even though I'm the endocrinologist who's seeing someone, and supposedly as the endocrinologist, I have more knowledge. And the knowledge, and I guess let me make a point of that. The knowledge really comes from the extra training that I've done. And the knowledge comes from the fact that I see patients all day with these diseases, right? So your typical physician doesn't see the type of patients I see. I mean, he may have, or she may have, a couple of diabetes mixed in, it's a couple of thyroid every now and then, but all day, every day, this is what I do, right? So I tell people it's not that the physician does not have the capacity in terms of their knowledge or in terms of learning, is that they just don't have the time, right? But if you do something all day, every day, guess what? You become very good at doing that. So anyway, so when I go to the doctor, I am the physician. I'm the patient, right? The doctor is the physician, and so I run everything through the physician. As a matter of fact, there are some things I ran through him today that I wanted to do, and he agreed. Okay, all right. But emotionally feeling good. So I had my visit today. I'm feeling good because I got through the fast this week. Remember, I started the fast a little earlier. I usually do a 72-hour fast. This week I did a 96. I was shooting for a 96. I actually thought about going further, but as I mentioned before, you want to set yourself up for success. Sometimes we push it just a little bit too much, and then our bodies and our brain say, no, we're not doing that again. So I broke it last night as we got into the evening. Okay, so that's how I'm doing physically, emotionally, or physically, mentally, and emotionally. And so now let's take a look at blood sugars. And this, we're going to take a look at my meters. And you'll see on the screen there, that is my my Libre. My Libre 3 says my blood sugar right now is 102. And if you look at the green shaded area close to the middle of the bottom, you'll see that white squiggly line. Those are my blood sugars. And you'll see kind of a faint green line going right across. That is about 100, right? That's the line that represents about 100. So for most of the morning, I was actually below 100, and then I started eating. And as I started eating, you see the line went above 100, and then it started coming back down, and right about 3 o'clock or so, it dipped below 100, and then it started going back up again. And it started going back up again because I got home. Excuse me. I got home and I started eating some cheese. Yeah. Did I need it? Nope. Why was I eating it? Heat. Okay. All right. And then if I take a look at my Dexcom, this is what the Dexcom is showing. And this one, I'm going to run my finger there in a minute so you can see what the actual numbers are. You'll see down there in the gray shaded area, there's a gap between the dotted lines. And that's because my Dexcom went out this morning. Probably, was that about 1 o'clock? And I didn't put it on until I woke up this morning, or I didn't change it until I woke up this morning. So if we start out here at about 12 midnight, well, sorry, 6 p.m. yesterday, and that's I was fasting, and of course it went out. So we hop over, and this morning when I put on a new sensor, I was 130, and that's after breaking the fast last night. And then you see those blood sugars climbed, right? Climb. And started eating right about here. And they climb. I think they got up to like 150. Let's see what's the highest that it got to. What's this one right here? So 130, 140, probably 143, I think was the highest. And then started coming back down. And then now is about 130. Okay, so that's what's been going on since I broke the fast yesterday. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at what my monitors are saying. My Keto Mojo, of course, gives me ketones, and it also gives me glucose. And then, of course, the Contour gives me blood sugar. So let's get a strip into each of these. We'll start with the Contour. And this is just the monitor that we use at the office, so that's why I have it. I think a couple of shows ago I showed you a different kind of monitor, but they have several on the market. The Keto Mojo is not the only one that gives you both glucose and ketones, so there's several on the market as well. I did this one because there's someone that I follow that I listen to, and this is what she uses, and I liked it, and so I got it. Once again, there are lots of differences or different ones that are out there. So I've got a strip in each of these, but I'm going to go ahead and open up the ketone strip as well, because you know I don't want to go ahead and I don't want to stick myself a second time. So I'm going to have that ready to go in once I get a finger stick. And so then now let's hop over and take a look at or grab one of these Lancets. And as you see, there's several types in there. I'm just grabbing a simple one. Several that you can use. This is just a simple twist. This normally would go into a lancing device. I don't use the device. I just kind of twist this off. And let's see if I bring this up a little closer. Maybe you'll see a little needle right there at the tip. And this usually goes into a device, and you press the button, and it's spring loaded, so it comes out and it pokes your finger. So I usually just grab a finger, right, and then grab this thing and get a poke right there. Ow. Ooh, yeah. And these smaller ones actually tend to hurt more. So let's see if I got I got a good drop. Let's go ahead and get that started. I'll get a drop onto our Contour. And then I'm going to keep a drop going here. So 118 for the Keto Mojo. And the Contour says that we are 116. So pretty close to each other. I'm going to take this out and go ahead and get the ketone strip in. Let's turn that around. And then let's get a drop of blood on that one, so we can see what my ketones are. So what do you think my ketones are going to be? Because I've been eating, right? I broke the fast yesterday, last night after about 99 hours. Did you guys see that? No? Okay. I was trying to get away before you saw it. Yeah, go ahead and put a guess. Put a guess. What do you think it's going to be? What do you think the ketones are going to be? Let me move this one off of here because I don't want you to see that accidentally. All right. So we'll come back and we'll take a look at the ketones in a minute. If you got a guess, go ahead and drop those into the chat so you let me know what you think it is. So let's get to what we're talking about tonight. And so tonight we're talking about fasting. It's a review, and on Fridays we do a review of the fasting process. When I talk about fasting, I break it up into basically three sections. One is, how do we prepare for the fast? How do we get through the fast? And then how do we break the fast? So how do we prepare? How do we get through the fast? And then how do we break the fast? And so if you will follow that kind of segmentation, then you can address issues within each of those processes in each of those sections independently and make changes, make tweaks. Okay? So we're going to talk about them in those divisions. So number one, how do we prepare for the fast? How do we prepare for the fast? The first thing I want to say is that fasting is not just about abstaining from food. Okay, let me start there. So fasting is not just about not eating something. It is both it is a physical, it is a mental, and it is an emotional process. Because there are hormones that change, hormones that are fluctuating, hormones that are interacting, hormones that are going up, hormones that are going down. And hormones, as you know, will make emotions change. Emotions change, mindset change, our mentation, our bodies will change. And so when we're fasting, we are affecting all of those different areas. So in getting into the fast, we want to prepare for the fast. Why it's key to prepare is because the body, you reduce the amount of shock that may happen to the body. Because you're preparing all those areas, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Okay, so reduce shock. In minimizing common side effects like fatigue and headache and irritability. I was talking to somebody today, and they were telling me that they started fasting, and they just became very irritable, and everybody around them said, hey, no, you can't do this. You can't do this. You got to do something else. All right, you got to start eating. Isn't that amazing that people will say, hey, no. You got to get some food because you're too mean right now. Okay? And it helps maintain focus on your purpose and goal. So as we're fasting, we are getting the body ready, we're getting the mind ready, and we are preparing the emotions for things that may happen. Okay? So mental preparation, how do we do that? Number one, we want to set clear goals. What are we doing? Why are we doing this? Where are we heading? Like yesterday, I mentioned on the show that I was thinking about breaking the fast early, right? So my goal was a 96-hour fast. And as I got into the fast, it was going well. And so I said to myself, hey, I could extend this beyond 96 hours. But that was not the original intent. And then as I started thinking about different things that were going to go on, for instance, I needed to make some chicken. And I said, well, if I make the chicken, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to want to taste the chicken. There's going to be a smell all around. And so I'm going to break the fast. And when I break the fast, then I'll get into my head because I broke the fast unplanned. Right? So either we're going to blame ourselves. We're going to go into our head. We're going to start having that negative conversation about, oh, man, you can't do it. You couldn't do it. You couldn't last. You gave in. Right? So it's a mental thing. So preparing for the fast is about setting clear goals. What am I doing? Where am I heading? How long am I going to fast? Right? It's about visualizing the success. When I get to the end, I'm getting to 24 hours. I'm getting to 36 hours. I'm getting to 48 or 60 or 68 or 72 or 96. Whatever the number is, you're visualizing that. What does it look like? What does it feel like? What does it sound like? What does it smell like? So you're creating the space for your mind and your body and your brain to lean into that. Because there may be some challenging times that come during the fast, but if I've prepared for it, if I've mentally prepared, I know where I'm going, I'm seeing the success, I'm more likely to get to the finish line. And then in the preparation for the fast, preparing our mind, we want to educate ourselves about the fasting method that we're using. So different fasts do different things, different lengths, different ways of doing it. You know, are you doing a 12 and 12 or 16 and 8, one meal a day, 24-hour fast? Are you doing an alternate day fasting? Are you doing a 5 and 2? Are you doing time restricted eating? Are you doing an extended fast? So many different types of fast. And we did a show where we broke that down based on timing. And then we came back and we broke it down based on the diseases or processes that a particular fast treats. So what are we doing? Educate myself on the type of fast. And then use positive affirmations, right? So as you're getting into the fast, how am I going to encourage myself during the fast? Get some positive affirmations and post them. Put them up on your mirror. Put them up on your desk. Wherever you are, put them there so you get to see that. When I come into the studio, there are things that I have on the wall, right? So over here, I've got my my triple E formula for success: educating, empowering, and encouraging. On the back there, you can't see it. See, do I have that on? I don't think I have that on my screen here. There's a cup right there. Right, there's a mug, and it has on it my educating, empowering, encouraging. On the back of it, it has my saying, right? You guys have heard me say this. I am now becoming the person I thought I would be 20 years ago. So I have things around me. I've got my New Year, New You. I've got my T-shirt that I wear, right? So I've got this stuff all around me, and that encourages me through the fast. Okay, so use some affirmations to get you there. So preparing mentally. Nutritional preparation. So it's not just about the fast itself, it's about what's going on around the fast. So when you're not eating, in order to be successful in the fast, you want to begin reducing your carbs and your sugar before you get to the fast. Because if you come into the fast having just eaten high carb foods, then your insulin level is going to be higher than normal. And so you're coming into the fast with high insulin levels, and now you have to fight that through the fast. And you're going to have cravings, you're going to have spikes, right? So all of this is going on because you came into the fast already with high sugars because you just ate it before you got into the fast. So cutting that back a few days before the fast, very important. Increasing your healthy fats. Remember, fats, they blunt the absorption of sugar, right, before the fast, and they help you feel fuller longer. So as you get into the fast, those first several hours, remember that is where a lot of people will have difficulty. And so this allows you, this allows you to stay full longer during those first several hours. And we'll talk about those here in just a minute. Increase your water and your electrolyte intake. If you don't prepare well, if you don't hydrate, when you get into the fast, you'll feel lightheaded, dizzy, sweaty, increased palpitations, and people start to say, hey, the fasting is causing a problem. Well, it's not the fasting that's causing the problem, it's the fact that we didn't come into the fast in the correct manner. So you want to make sure that you're doing all that. And then gradually reduce your eating window. And this is an important one, and I was sharing this with my doctor actually just today. As you're moving towards the fast, if you're going to an extended fast, a 24, 36, 72, whatever, don't just go to 72 hours. Don't just like one day pick up and say, okay, I'm not going to eat for the 72 hours. Well, what you're doing is you are wherever you are, you're starting in that space, and then you're gradually decreasing the period during which you eat, so that all of a sudden now we have the fasting window that's been expanded. So if you normally sleep for 8 hours, right? and you get up and then you eat for the rest of the time. Your fasting window right now is 8 hours. So when you go to bed, you stop eating, and you wake up 8 hours later and you start eating, right? So that's what most people do. Well, what you can do is go to bed at the same time. You can stop eating. When you wake up in the morning, instead of eating right away, just extend that eating window maybe an hour or two. So now you've gone to 9 or 10 hours. Let's do 10 just for math's sake, but you can do 9 as well. And then once you're able to do 9, then now you extend that another 2 hours. Now we're at 12. So we're doing a 12 and 12. Now you keep hearing me say 12 and 12. That's what I mean. You're fasting for 12 hours, and during the time when you're not fasting, you can eat for 12 hours. And then you expand that even more. So now we go to 14. Now that becomes 10 and 12, 10 and 14. Another 2 hours, it becomes 8 and 16, right? And so what we're doing is we're extending the fasting window, making it bigger, and we're making the eating window smaller, so that eventually now we've compressed the eating window to such a point that we're fasting for 24 hours, right? So that's what you want to do. So don't just jump up and say I'm fasting for 72 hours, because that sets you up for, well, it doesn't set you up for success. Okay? So gradually reduce the eating window. And then make sure you're hydrated. And you guys see me here. That's one of the things that my doctor told me today, was to make sure that I'm hydrating. Okay? So make sure that you are hydrating well. If you don't, because remember, hydration does a lot of things in the body. Hydration helps with ketones. Because remember, we have to flush some ketones out. So as we're burning fat, that's energy, and it's being converted. And so the body has to move it around. So if you're not hydrated, that process gets hindered. If you are dehydrated, your heart, which normally pumps and sends blood around with nutrients and oxygen and takes away toxins and byproducts, there's less blood to do that. So how does the body maintain the same amount of flow? Well, it increases the frequency. So it pumps harder and it pumps faster. And people will feel that as palpitations. That is, feeling the heart's racing or skipping a beat or is pronounced. And that's because of hydration. So you want to make sure that you are getting good hydration. Ensure adequate electrolyte intake. So sodium, potassium, IV hydration is one that a lot of people use, and you can make sure that you can use that as well. Okay, but you want to make sure that you are doing a good job of electrolytes. One of our community members, Jennifer, actually shared with us what she uses, and I think it's called Liquid IV. Okay, and then you can use herbal teas. Now this is the preparation for the fast. I had a question on our YouTube channel on one of the shows. I forgot which one it was. Someone was asking, can they use I think it was tea. Can they use herbal tea during the fast? And so you gotta watch. We are in this space saying that we're not taking in anything with calories. Right? So it's not just sugar. So nothing with calories. So if you look at your teas, some of them will have calories. They don't have sugar, but they have calories in them. So those are not ones that we are using. We're using water, and you can use that in the process of hydration. Oh no, it wasn't a tea. It was coconut water, I think the question was. And so because coconut water has calories, then it's not one that we use in the space. Okay. All right. Let's see where we are. All right, so electrolytes. And you can use that. So, but if you're using it before the fast, it prepares you, right? It calms you. You know, chamomile tea, green tea, peppermint tea. So it relaxes you prior to the fast, and it helps you stay hydrated. And then physical preparation. So light activity, light exercise is great during fasting. Unless you're doing a fasting workout, and there is such a thing where, because your body, your muscles like ketones, people who are trying to do fasting workouts, they find that they have bigger, more rapid muscle gain during fasting and working out, right? So that's a whole nother conversation. And you want to reduce your exercise, like these are strenuous ones, 1 to 2 days before you start fasting to avoid fatigue. You want to aim for quality sleep, right? So preparation, once again. If you don't rest well, then you get to the fast and the fast doesn't go well because you're already feeling drained. And then we blame the fasting for it, but it's actually that we didn't prepare well. And then begin reducing your caffeine because if you don't do that, then you're going to be wired. And once again, there are a lot of things that happen in the fast that are not really a fasting issue, but fasting gets blamed for it. And then your environment. Your environment is very, very important. I don't, let's see, did I bring any stuff here? No, I don't have anything with me. But all the stuff you saw that I got last night, excuse me. If you're gonna fast, you want to set yourself up for success. If there are things in your environment that are going to pull at you, right? Access. If there are things in your environment that are going to pull at you, you want to get rid of those. You want to move those. You want to do something so that it's not there or it's not the temptation. Yeah. Okay. So you want to make sure that you're doing so. Cleaning out your environment, creating a fasting friendly zone, right? Prepare distractions. So set up some games, set up something so that your brain, your mind is doing other things. If you're fasting, excuse me, if you're fasting once a week, as I recommend, 24 hours, then don't fast on a day when your family has lots of activities, right? Because that already sets up conflict. Pick a day when you guys really aren't. Pick a day when everybody's grabbing something on their own. That's a great day to fast. But if you have a family tradition where you guys sit down and everybody comes over and you guys are doing the family thing, that's probably not a day to fast. Now, in our minds it makes sense because hey, that's the day I eat the most. Okay? That's a whole different conversation. But what I'm saying is don't put yourself in a position where your fasting becomes a conflict for your relationships and for your social space because we love to belong. Our brain, our body, our mind, we are built for community. And if we have to make a decision between fasting and community is going to win. And then we're going to feel guilty because we didn't fast. We're going to feel guilty and we're going to blame those people because we say they made us not fast. No, just don't fast on that day. Find a different day. And then during the process of eating, right? Remember the eating process, and that's a very important one. And you're going to hear more of this as we go through New Year, New You, and as we get into our new season, right? Balanced bites. The things that we eat, right, are every bite counts. Balanced bites. So we want every bite to be balanced. People say, oh, I'm going to cheat today. Well, no, cheating is not a balanced bite. So when you're cheating, I want that to be a built-in part of what you do. Say, on Thursday, I'm having chocolate. On Wednesday, I'm having whatever it is. And build that into your meal plan. So it's no longer cheating. It's just a part of what I do. It's balanced. Every bite makes a difference, right? So balanced bites. And that's the whole idea behind the challenge that we had where we say, hey, we need you to create this food. That's where balanced bites comes from. This is a balanced bite. This is what a balanced bite looks like. All right. So as we're getting into the fast, you want to make sure that you are mindful of all of those things. So prepare distractions. And then make sure that you are talking to the people around you. Let them know, hey, I'm fasting. Let them know, hey, this is when my period is. This is when my fasting period is. This is when my fasting window. This is my eating window. So they're not planning things during the time when you're fasting. And they can now help to support you. Right? So we want to make support because remember the triple E formula for success? The third E is encouragement, which comes from community. Create accountability. Right there it is. Right, create account. Join a fasting group. Join New Year, New You. Come by. Hey, let's hang out. Let's do it together. Right. One of the days when we fast, right, and I do a 72-hour fast. Pick one of those days as your 24 hours, and let's do it together. So that when I check in on a particular day, you can check in as well. Right? Come out to our community meetup. Make that a day, and you can in the community meetup you can share what's going on in your fasting. Right? Set yourself up for success. We often don't succeed not because we don't have drive, not because we don't have vision. We don't succeed because we don't have structure. And then, so why preparation is key, right? And how do we prepare? What should we do? Get lots of rest, stay hydrated, reduce stress, and eat nutrient-dense meals. Okay? Eat nutrient-dense meals. So that is how we prepare for the fast. Let me hop over. I see some community members out there, so we just want to say hello to all of you, wherever you're joining us from. Let's go ahead and let's look at this view. I think I like this one. So let's see, who do we got? We got Lightworks out there. Lightworks says, hello, good evening, everyone. Steve is saying, hello, Liz. Lightworks. Spell check. Yes. Say hello. Jennifer saying, howdy. Howdy, all. Hello, Jennifer. Riri, good evening. Hey, Riri, how are you? Thanks for joining us. And then Jennifer, yeah, Jennifer, you heard me talking about you. I didn't even see you out there. Jennifer says sugar-free liquid IV. Very good. Yeah, so that's what Jennifer uses. And there are lots of different products, but that's one. And I keep saying, Jennifer, I have got to get some and try it. I've not done that yet. And then Riri says, so I know once you're fasting, you're not allowed to eat anything at all. So can you eat fruits, nuts, or vegetables, or just drink tea and water? So very good question, Riri. And so in our space, we are doing a complete calorie fast. So we're not eating anything. We're not drinking anything that has calories in it. So water, and you see I have, what do I have here? So these are two, yeah, okay, I finally have what I could show you guys. I think I've shown you this before. And so what I got here, let's put these up. Let's see. Okay, here we are. So these are 0-calorie products. So I've got, what's this one? This one is Pure Leaf, 0-calorie, 0-sugar tea. Here is Gold Peak, 0-sugar tea. And here is 0-sugar Sprite. Now, here's a mistake I made. And I think, well, hold on a second. I'll be right back. All right, so here are some of the products that I used before. I used to use. This is Gatorade, and this other one is Propel. And so this is what I started using, and then I was looking at the box, and this one says less than 1 gram of carb. So it does have calories, right? This one is 5 calories, even though it says 0, right? So 5 calories. So as you're looking for products, right? So in this space, we are not doing calories. So as you're looking for products, if you're following along with us, then these guys are good because they don't have any calories at all. But these guys, even though they're low, or they say, like, I'm not even sure what this one says. It says 0 sugar, which is deceiving. This one says 0, I'm not sure what it says, 0 something, but it has 5 calories. Okay. So I was doing this, and I was interrupting my fast. Now, let me explain. And great question, by the way, Riri. The reason for 0 calories and the reason for 0 carbs is that in the process of fasting, and if you go back, and I think, what was it, 2 days ago, we did a show about the difference between fasting and calorie reduction. So when we're reducing calories, the body's metabolism is going to slow down, but we're still getting spikes in insulin. And that's what we are trying most of all to minimize. Remember, pillar number one is reduce insulin. But if you're putting stuff in that still has calories, that still has carbs, then you're getting those fluctuations, and the insulin is still doing the damage. The insulin is still causing the issues. We've not hit that pillar yet. And so 0 calories, 0 sugar is because we want pillar number one to be hit by fasting. Okay, so but great questions. I love it, love it, love it. So let's see. So yeah, water and like I said, yeah, and you saw what I had on the screen there. Steve says, Jennifer, I haven't been able to find sugar-free. Looking in the wrong place. Okay. Lightwork says, Dr. Woode with an E. I brought family to the family welcome. Ah, Sariri. Okay, come on now. I love it. I love it. Thank you, Lightworks, for bringing family. We love that because that is so important, right? So we can be the voice for change in our families. And then Ariri is saying thank you, Lightworks. Said I hate the fake sugar. I tolerate maybe stevia. Yeah, I'm not even sure what these guys have in them. I had someone who actually contacted me today in the office who was asking me about sweeteners, and so I gave a list of sweeteners that they can use. You have to try different ones. I started out liking the Gold Peak, right? That's what I started out with. If you guys remember when we first started fasting together, this is what I was using at the beginning. And then one day I went to the grocery store, they didn't have that. And so I started using the Pure Leaf. And it's not as thick and it seems more refreshing. So I have, if you come to my house, I actually have more of this now than I do of this one. And once again, these are, there's nothing about these brands. These are just the ones that were on my local grocery shelf. And so I picked those up. All right. So that's preparing for the fast. When we talk about the fast itself, I usually break this up into 24-hour chunks. So you hear me talk about 24 hours and 48 hours and 72 hours and 96 hours and so forth. But today, as we go through the fasting, we're going to break it up in a little smaller chunks. So let's go ahead. So the first 6 hours, really, this is the postprandial phase. This is just when you've finished eating and the body is still absorbing. I'm just putting some stuff here. The body's still absorbing. The body's breaking all the food down and it's bringing it into the cells. Energy levels are high, carbohydrates are high, sugars are high, insulin is high, right? That's the state right there because the energy is right there. And then as we get into, this is the first 6 hours. As we get into the 6 to 12 hours, this is the early fasting stage. And now we're starting to, for the first time, see some of the benefits that we talk about. Right, so the insulin levels are starting to decrease, pillar number one, and glucagon levels are increasing. Remember, glucagon and insulin go in opposite directions. When insulin is high, that means sugar is high. And as sugar goes down, insulin begins to go down as well. And then when insulin is going down, glucagon is coming out. Now, why is that? That's a very elegant, I love that process. It's kind of like going to the grocery store. When you go to the grocery store, you buy, and I use rice as an example. You go and you can buy a 20-pound bag of rice. When you bring that rice home, you don't cook all of it. You take some out. You cook whatever you're going to eat. You cook for the family that night. The leftovers from what you cook goes into the refrigerator. So you ate some, right? That's ready in the blood. You put some in the refrigerator. That's the leftovers. But the rest of the bag you put in the pantry. And you don't go back to the pantry, the fat cells, until what's in the refrigerator is gone, which is the liver. And you don't go to the liver until what's in the blood is done. That's what you're eating. Okay? So in order for the body to begin burning calories from your fat cells, it has to first use up what's in the liver. And it can't even go to the liver until it uses up what's in the blood. And so as the blood sugars are starting to go down, because insulin is packing it away to different places, the blood sugar is going down. Now glucagon comes out and it says, hey, my blood sugar level is lower. So now let me go to the refrigerator, the liver, and let me pull some of that out. And it keeps pulling that out. And then when that's done, then it says, now let me go to the pantry, the fat cells, and now let me start burning that. So you see the progression there? Okay? And so this is that transition, that intermediate phase where we are no longer in the postprandial phase. We've kind of packaged everything and they're gone to storage, they're gone to the refrigerator or the pantry, and now the body's saying, okay, I need to tap into that. Okay? So energy levels begin to fluctuate as the body is kind of making that decision. In the 12 to 18 hours, we're transitioning to using fat. So now that my glycogen is beginning to go away, the body's having to start in earnest thinking about using fat now. Okay? So glucose levels continue to go down, insulin levels continue to go down, and the body is now saying, hey, give me some fat to change into ketones. So I'm burning the fat now. And the liver starts the gluconeogenesis. And this is creating glucose from non-carb containing sources. So the glycogen, which is carb containing, is being depleted. And so the body's saying, hey, I got to start using something else. And a lot of people can feel a dip in their energy. And this is where, if you've not rested well and you feel this dip, it is more pronounced because you're not rested. If you were rested, the dip would still happen, but you wouldn't feel it as much. But if you're not rested, then you feel drained. And of course, people say, okay, the fasting doesn't work for me because it makes me feel terrible. And then 18 to 24 hours, ketosis is beginning, right? Glycogen stores are nearing depletion. And we're starting to increase ketones as the body's using that. Autophagy begins. Autophagy. Yeah, let me hop over and talk about autophagy. Remember, autophagy is this amazing process that happens. It is where the body is going out and it's reclaiming, it's recycling damaged, broken, unused cells. It's kind of like one of these bottles that I just emptied, right? When I take this bottle, when it's empty, I put it in a recycling bin. And it goes away. When they pick it up, they take it somewhere, they process it, and it comes back at something totally different. So I went to the store, I keep saying, several weeks ago, and I went to get some tennis shoes, and I picked up the shoes, and it says, hey, this thing is made from 30%, I think 20 or 30% recycled material. So that's what happened. The body, there are parts of ourselves that are broken, damaged. And so the body, during autophagy, goes out and it collects those, it reprocesses them, and it creates new cells. This is where we get regeneration. This is where we get improvement in neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and multiple sclerosis. This is where people get improvement in their neuropathy. This is where they talk about fighting cancer. This is the process of decreasing inflammation. This is where we get autoimmune benefits. So all of those things happen as autophagy is now coming in because we're supercharging it. Remember, autophagy is supercharged by fasting, by calorie deficit, by exercise. We did a show on that, so go back and watch that show. But just amazing the process that happens. So autophagy is going on. Energy levels begin to stabilize because now we have a more steady, more clean energy source. And then as we get into the 24 to 30 hour, now we have fat adaptation. So we are in earnest now burning fat. So we are in the process of just cranking out ketones from the fat, right? Significant increase in ketones, in ketone production. Fat oxidation increases. More fatty acids are converted to ketones, and the body loves it. Energy levels stabilize because now we have a steady source. Right? Love it, love it, love it. So that is the process of fasting. And there are, we did do a show where we did longer, and we may come back and do that. Not may. We will come back and do and go through more, but this is the first 24 hours. Remember, we're asking you once a week to fast for at least a 24 hours. If you're doing 36, 48, 72, longer, great. But at least once a week, let's do a 24-hour fast because we're resetting our system. We're resetting. We're getting better insulin resistance. We're decreasing our metabolic disease. We're improving our blood pressure, improving our cholesterol. We're putting a dent in our fatty liver, in our polycystic ovarian syndrome. We're getting that process where the body is reclaiming fat, discarded cells. We're improving our inflammation. We're improving our immunity. All of that is beneficial. All of that those are benefits that we get when we're fasting. And notice I haven't even talked about weight. I haven't talked about blood sugar. Right? These are just some of the additional benefits that we get from fasting. Yes? All right. And then, of course, let's see. And then when we've gotten through the fast, right? So we prepare for the fast, we get through the fast, and then, of course, we want to break the fast. And remember, how you break the fast is just as important as the fast itself, which is just as important as how you prepare for the fast. Because we can set ourselves up for success, or we can cause issues with the fasting. So how do we break the fast? Well, so here's some tips. One, we want to monitor blood sugars. And I know I tell that to everybody. If you are working on your metabolism, you got to monitor blood sugars. You want to know what your body is doing as a result of the things that you're eating and drinking. So monitor blood sugars. Get a simple glucose monitor. Continuous monitors, I love them. Now that there is an over-the-counter one, the Stello, that makes it accessible to everybody. You don't need a prescription for it. You guys saw me demo that a little while ago. I don't have one on now. Right now I just have my what do I have on? I have on my Dexcom and I have my Libre. So I've got those two. All right. All right, so monitor blood sugars. Portion control. So balanced bites, right? That concept that I just told you, balanced bites. One of the components of balanced bites is portion size, portion control, the appropriate amount. Because you can eat just as much of the good thing to get spikes in blood sugar and to undo the benefits that you actually got during the fast itself. Eat slowly. When you eat slowly, then you're able to savor the food. If you don't do that, what happens is you eat more. Okay, we talked about the scarcity mindset yesterday. One of the components was eat slowly. And then avoid sugary processed food. Remember, so this we're talking about is breaking the fast. Breaking the fast. You want to avoid sugary processed foods, because that sets you up for danger down the road. And when I say danger, whatever you break the fast with, you're going to be eating for the next 24 to 36 hours. So if you got some sugary stuff, guess what? Your appetite is going to be stimulated and it's going to be hard to resist getting some more. So avoid highly processed sugary stuff. Hydration. So this is where hydration is important as well, just as it is in the fast, just as it is preparing for the fast. Coconut water. Right, always water is good. Coconut water, and for the and I forgot who it was that asked that question on the channel. Coconut water is great in this space, unsweetened, of course, because we don't want those big spikes in blood sugar. And of course, herbal tea, because they refresh you and they calm you. We want to make sure we're getting the appropriate proteins. Because once again, if we add protein to the things we're eating, it will blunt the rise in blood sugar. It will keep us satiated or keep us full longer. And we'll talk about fats here in just a minute. But eggs, great option. Chicken or turkey breast, right? Great options. Tempeh, tofu, for those of you who are vegetarian or vegan, great right there. And then, of course, healthy fats. Avocados, and you've seen me break the fast here with avocados. Nuts, you've seen me do that, which is, that's not a good idea for me. That's one my thing. And so you've got to learn your thing. What is the thing that is the problem for you? Okay, learn that thing and now figure out, okay, how do I incorporate that into what I do on a normal basis? Right. So nuts for me, and you guys saw how many bottles of nuts I bought yesterday. I got to do something with them. Okay. And then broths. Broths refresh you. Broths will help to keep you in ketosis longer. So if you're interested in staying in ketosis despite the fact that you're eating, right? You can, on your eating time, you can incorporate a ketogenic diet, right? Ketogenic diet. So on my fasting days, I fast for 72 hours, so no calories. On my non-fasting days, I actually do a 16-8-ish fast, right? So you can incorporate multiple things into what you do. So you can do a regular fasting, and then on your non-fasting day, you could do a ketogenic diet. I think essentially, Steve, that is what you're doing, right? So you're doing a one meal a day, but that one meal is actually pretty low in carbs, so it's actually pretty ketogenic. Oh, by the way, that stuff you guys brought me was amazing. Where's your wife? Tell your wife thank you, by the way. I say thank you to you, Steve, and I know she did it. So thank you to both of you. But make sure she hears me say this. But you can't bring me any more. Or I'm just gonna, yeah. So broths, so vegetable broths, bone broth, chicken broth, any of those types of things. I was actually this week I got some, what was it, white chicken chili from the cafeteria at work. I was going to use that to break my fast, but when I looked at it, it was so good. I'm sure there's a lot of sugar in it, because the restaurants do that, right? That's how you make your stuff taste good. You put that to blunt any saltiness or too much of a bitter taste. You just put sugar in it, and so yeah. So I haven't used it. It's in the refrigerator. So broths are great. So when we're talking about breaking the fast, some considerations. You want to choose foods that help maintain stable blood sugars. Choose foods that help maintain stable blood sugars. You want to use low glycemic index foods. Remember, low glycemic index are foods that are 50 glycemic index or less. Lean protein, healthy fats because they keep you fuller longer. They blunt the rise of blood sugar from the food that you eat. And hydration, because you want to make sure always that you're hydrated well. Okay? All right. And so let's go over and let's take a look at my glucose. My session expired. So let me go ahead and log back in because when I talk, it actually logs me out. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll take a look at those blood sugars. Let's see, where is my thingy? There we go. So if you have questions about any of the stuff we've been talking about, I think I saw a comment there from Riri. So let me go. Oh, no. Let's see, there we are. All right, so you gotta take your time. Oh, wait a minute. So it's not, something is not working. All right, let's try that again. Boom. Start over. All right, there we go. So let's see. Before I do that, let me hop over and see what comment we have. I think it's this one. Yeah. So Doug, so thanks, Lightworks. I hate the fake. So Lightworks said that, and Jennifer said I buy from Costco, and she's talking about the liquid IV that he was talking about, sugar-free liquid IV. Has allulose and stevia as sweeteners. And Riri says, I was just about to ask what I needed to do to break the fast. Oh, yeah, there you go. So, and then Steve says, yes, we do a no sugar, very low carb. Beth says that. Yes, thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah, Steve brought me some stuff at the office. Okay. All right, so let's go over. And so here's my glucose meter or my Dexcom. And you'll see there that my average blood sugar is 124. This is over the last 2 weeks. I've been in target 88% of the time, and that's a target that goes 70 to 180. My glucose management indicator is 6.3, so that's an estimate of what my A1C would be based on these numbers. If I change to a 90-day period, then you'll see that my average blood sugar is 134. Glucose management indicator 6.5, so a little higher. My range is 87%, 70 to 180. And now let's take a look at what my graph has been doing over the course of the last, let's say 4 days, right? Because I fasted for 4 days, 5 days, fasted for 5 days, and then I started eating today. So going back, so I started fasting last Sunday, and my blood sugar was like 130 to 140. 24 hours later, we were right at 90. 24 hours after that, so now 48 hours, we were in the 70s and 60s. 72 hours, we were, hey, look at that, we were at 70. And then yesterday, which was 96 hours, we were in the 60s. And so I kind of stayed there, and then I broke the fast over here somewhere. And then, of course, today you'll see what the blood sugars have been. Now look at this, right? So even though I was eating, I was very careful about what I ate. And I'll tell you, I'm on my way to see my doctor, right here. So this is where my blood sugar was. My appointment was about 10:30, and so I was on my way to see my doctor. And as I walked out, I didn't want to go out of the house and end up wanting to get something out there, because once again, remember, emotions, access, taste, right? All those things, those are mine. And so I decided I was going to eat something, and in the refrigerator there were some chicken wings from Outback that we got, and so I grabbed those and I started eating them. And what I realized, well, I shouldn't say I realized, I already knew it, but anyway, so they were breaded chicken wings, and so my blood sugar, which was 70 to 80 up here, as I started eating it, look. So 70 to 80, and I started eating those wings, and so by the time I got to like noon, we had gone from 70 to 80 to 134. Okay, but had I not eaten that, I think my blood sugar would have kind of stayed in the 90s to 100s. Okay, and so now let's hop over really quickly and let's take a look at what my ketones are. What do you think my ketones are today? So yesterday, I think they were, was it 3.1 at 96 hours? Let's see. I think, yeah, so 3.1. Let me show you that. So they were 3.1 with blood sugar of 68. So let's go ahead and get this strip out and turn this on. And let's go ahead and sync. So what do you think they're going to be today? What do you think they're going to be today? Drop that in the chat if you think you have a guess. Okay, here it is. Drum roll, please. And remember, my blood sugar, I think, was 118. So blood sugar of 118 and ketones of 0.8. Yay! Look at that. I'm still in ketosis. And this is now, let's see, I broke the fast last night. Well, a little later than, so it hasn't been quite 24 hours since I started eating. But look at the ketones, right? So ketones less than 0.5 considered normal. 0.5 to 1.5 are considered nutritional ketosis, and then above 1.5 considered therapeutic ketosis. So I'm in the nutritional ketosis. If we're talking about fat burning, ketones, ketogenic diet, we want you to be at 0.5 or higher. 0.5 or higher. And so I'm still there. Yay, I love it, right? That means I'm maintaining some of that. Awesome. All right, let's see what else. So as we move into the fasting space, as we move into the metabolic space, I want to remind you that you have unlimited ability to make changes in your life. You can chart the destiny for your metabolic health. Whatever's happened in the past, that does not have to be the same for the future, because right now you can make a decision. You can tap into the unlimited potential that you have within you. Within you right now is the power to make a change for your health going forward. And we access that with the Triple E formula for success. We educate, we empower, and we encourage. That's the Triple E formula for success. We educate with the shows, the blogs, the podcasts. All of that is with the intention of giving you a mindset change, helping you with a growth mindset rather than a fixed mindset, letting you know that there's not scarcity, but there's abundance, and that you can effect change within your life. We empower with the tools that we're learning: fasting, the heat model, the COPE model, how to create a meal, balanced bites, right? Balanced bites. You hear me keep saying that. Those are the things that we're learning. Those are the tools that we get to use to change what we can do in the future. And then we encourage with the community that you are part of. I love the community. I love the talking. I love the interaction. I love the fact that Lightworks brought somebody from his family. That's amazing to me, right? So Steve and his wife, who are there watching together, and they're walking this together, right? Teresa, who's one of our community members, and Jennifer and Pamela, who she's not on tonight, but all of that, all those people are part of the community, and so we get to walk along with each other. You are an integral part of that. Remember the things that push us to eat, push us off of our meal plan, push us off of our diet, push us off of the decisions that we've made, and that is given by heat. Habits, emotions, access, and taste. So I've been walking around with my shirt, right? We're walking around with my shirt, and people are asking me, what is that? And so I get to explain to them what heat is, right? So habits, emotions, access, and taste. And remember that the pillars to reverse diabetes: decrease insulin, suppress appetite, reduce sugar. Decrease insulin, suppress appetite, reduce sugar. And that's why fasting is so amazing, because fasting hits all of them. Right? And then our call to action is this: when you come, do the challenge, join the challenges. Don't just let these shows go by, but get in there, jump in. This is your opportunity to practice the things that we're learning by using the challenges. And then tell your story when you show up. Claim your seat. Say, hey, I'm fasting. Hey, I'm having this result. Hey, this is what I'm doing. Hey, this is what's going on in my life. I've been able to come off medication. I've lost weight. My blood sugars are better. My cholesterol went down, so my doctor took me off of some medications. Share your successes, because when you do that, then we know that we can do it. Because if you can do it, I can do it as well. And if you're having challenges, don't hide that, because we get to rally around you. We get to say, hey, you're not alone. And we know we're not alone. Right? So that is community. And then tell somebody else. Bring somebody with you. Don't just send them. Come on, just like where Lightworks brought Riri. And I'm just so excited that you guys are here together. Right? There are over 1 billion people on the planet that have diabetes or prediabetes. You can be the voice for change in your family, at your job, at your church, at your community center, in your doctor's office, wherever you find yourself, in other social platforms. You can be the voice that says, look, hey, no, there's something different. We don't have to be like this. We don't have to keep dying from heart attacks. We don't have to keep having amputations. We don't have to keep having kidney problems. Right? So invite somebody, come along with them, bring them here, watch the shows together, right? On the channel, we have the playlists, right? And let me see, of course, every time I say that, I got to go find it. So we have the playlists that are on our channel, that are on the website. And so let's see this one right here. And you can go and you can watch those together. Right, here's one. This is where how to reverse your diabetes. These are the shows that we've been doing in this process. Okay, there's another one out there that's called How to Fast Successfully, Mastering Diabetes, Fasting for the Beginner. Right? So all those are available out on the channel. So make sure you join them. Make sure you join us. We will be back on Saturday night, so tomorrow night at 9 o'clock for videos from the vault. On Sunday morning, 6 a.m. Central for This Week in Review. And then, of course, we are back in the saddle, y'all, on Monday night at 7 p.m. Central for Dwain Woode, MD Live. I see some comments. Let me go ahead. Oh, let me grab some of those. Let's see this one. So Lightwork says, Riri said, I love almonds, but I heard you shouldn't eat too many because it affects your kidneys, especially if you have had kidney stones. Well, everything in moderation. Everything in moderation. Now, I have not heard about the kidney stone thing, Riri, but everything in moderation. Okay. And yeah, almonds. If once I'm glad that you're here. You will learn almonds and cashews. That's my thing, right? So if you showed up in my house, Riri, with some cashews or some almonds, oh yeah, that was is gone. It's done. Steve says Lightworks try Swervy as a sweetener. Steve was saying 0.6 was his guess. Fall is difficult to stay, says Jennifer, with lower glycemic index foods. Currently in my kitchen is at least 8 cantaloupes, 3 small watermelons, 2 boxes of apples, all from our garden and our neighbors' orchards. Oh, wow. Jennifer, yeah, delicious, says Steve. I tried canning apple pie filling using allulose instead of sugar. Even hubby liked it. That's great. I love that. And said, good to know that. Would you suggest I purchase a glucose meter? Yes, I do. I think everybody in this space needs to have a glucose meter. Yes, definitely. And we're not doing it. Well, let's just say we're not doing it. What we're doing is we want to know what's going on in our body. We want to know what activities are doing in our body, what effect they're having. We want to know what foods are doing, and then we can regulate ourselves by making changes to what we do in terms of activity, and of course in terms of our food. Yeah. All right. Well, as always, y'all, I'm happy to be here in this space with you. I'm happy that I get a chance to hang out with you and just be here, right? So you guys are a huge part of my community, a huge part of my support. So thank you for all that you do in this space. Thank you for the communication among each other, and I love the fact that you're doing that. If you've not yet signed up for our community meetup, we have that once a month. We usually have it on the fourth Thursday. This month we're changing. It's going to be on the 31st, and that is the link that I just put there in the chat. So make sure you go ahead and do that. It's 7 p.m. Central. So make sure that you get a part of that. And then, of course, all of our, not all, but we have 2 of the major playlists that you'll see coming across there on your in your chat. Go ahead and take a look at that. And then, of course, share that with people in your community. And then, as always, thank you for joining me. Thank you for being in this space. I'm excited to be here with you. As I always say, this is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. And in this year, new you. Good night, everybody. We'll see you at our next show. Bye-bye.